Salute YouTube. How's everybody doing today? Happy Saturday. It's a beautiful day, at least where I'm at. I went and got me and Shanna some breakfast this morning. I finally got some sleep, got some energy, cut the grass, did some stuff I had to do. We're going to go back out in a little and, try to find some more stuff for this YouTube thing. I'm trying a little something different today. I'm trying Shanna's setup with her microphone and stuff. You guys can let me know how this looks and sounds. But anyway, I got a suggestion earlier from a commenter. His name is Cleveland Corleones. And he suggested that I talk about. Sorry, I had to move something. Um, Mob movies and the influence they had on me throughout my life. And that is a excellent suggestion. Perfect subject to talk about. Because I'm sure a lot of us take interest in this stuff today because of the stuff we saw and read throughout our lives. And I know for me, they played a huge part in my life and my decision to, you know, unfortunately become the guy I became, in my younger years. Um, I'll say this. I think the first movie my father ever watched with me was St. Valentine's Day Massacre. No bullshit. And I think I was like, I'd say 6 or 7 years old. Um, then The Untouchables. Um, the only two movies I ever remember him taking me to see at the movie theater were Goodfellas and Mobsters, which was a horrible movie with Christian Slater. Um, so this is the kind of stuff I saw as a kid, and also real life stuff because we were in Queens. We were in Howard Beach a lot, where my great grandmother lived, and like I said, he would drive me past John Gotti's house all the time, and he would point out the FBI van outside, that they had there for surveillance or whatever. And, this stuff was fascinating to him. I could see his interest in it. And, he was loosely affiliated. His father was very connected and was a bookie and was, involved in a lot of stuff. So this is the kind of shit, when a kid sees this, right, from his dad, you you start to think that, I don't know, maybe it's psychological. Maybe you start to think that this is, at least in my case, like my father would, want for me. Like, why is he showing me this stuff unless he expects me to take some serious interest in it? And maybe become like these guys he points out to me. He used to drive me past the Bergen. I'll never forget the day, he pointed out, we never saw Senior, but John Gotti Jr. was outside. Um, and, sometimes when I see clips, surveillance clips, like when Junior got arrested outside the Bergen, I think it was outside the Bergen, I think back to that day and I could picture seeing him there in the street. And I was a little kid. You're talking, like I said, 7, 8, 9 years old, something like that. And then, Bensonhurst. I spent a lot of time in Bensonhurst in my life. My aunt, uncle, and cousins lived on 16th Avenue, on 16th Avenue and 86th Street. And, I was always on 86th Street as a kid and in my teens and my 20s. That's where I'd go shopping for clothes. I was a DJ, so I'd go to the music stop on 86th Street to get, even when I moved to PA, I would take day trips to 86th Street in Brooklyn just to go to the music stop to get my records, turntables, speakers, whatever it was that I needed for that, because there wasn't a lot of places to get that stuff back then, especially in smaller towns in PA and shit. So, that's why I was in Bensonhurst a lot, in Bay Ridge. My grandmother lived on Bay Ridge Parkway and Ridge, and I was always, there all the time. And so, these guys were around, and my dad would point them out to us. And, and also, in, I remember there was an experience in a diner where my dad had gotten in an argument with a guy in Howard Beach, and he said the wrong thing, and the guys kind of, were gentlemen about it and let him know, listen, you know who we are, and we don't have to take this any further for you to realize you made a mistake. And my dad was a little cocky too, because he had his father who was connected, and they had already done things to help my family and kind of protect people in my family and stuff. So uh, that shit's all in my history. I told the story about my aunt. My aunt was another one. She was kind of a mob groupie. She hung around a lot of these guys, and she would send me, I mean, fucking straight through the 90s, when I wasn't living in New York anymore. Anytime the Gaudis were in the newspaper or there was a big mob story, she would send me the newspapers. I mean, like, so it was like so ingrained in my mind, all this stuff. Um, but, as for the movies, it goes hand in hand with what I'm talking about, because I'm speaking from my own experience. I'm sure everybody was influenced to some extent, at least people that were already maybe had a mindset for crime and becoming a criminal. And that was always me. I always loved to see these guys, not just out on the street, because that's fascinating always, but in these movies, you see, because the movies obviously glamorize everything. That's the point. They add to it. They make they make it look as glamorous as possible, and that's what sells. Obviously, they what's the word I'm looking for? Like, they emphasize, the good parts, like the women and the cars and the clothes, the suits, the money, And as a kid seeing this stuff, and by the way, no kid should see this stuff, okay? This is one of the reasons what I'm talking about, because when you see this stuff as a kid, you only see that glamorous stuff. Like I said this, I think, on Lee Cole's show one time, like, a kid is not going to pay attention to the ending nearly as much as he's going to pay attention to the beginning and the middle. Okay, it's all the good stuff, the exciting stuff. Henry Hill when he's a teenager lighting those cars on fire, and then later on, the drug deals and the killings and the stuff like that, the time out in the clubs and spending money and making money, and that's the stuff kids see, and they're fascinated by it. The ending that is not what sticks with them. The ending where they go to jail for life, or they flip and become a rat, or they wind up dead, that's not what sticks with a kid. What sticks with a kid, that's why I say Johnny A. Liar, or I never call him that, but all right, Johnny A. Liar, isn't helping any fucking buddy, because until he stops trying so hard to look, sound, and act like a gangster, and trust me, it is a put on. This is not who he is naturally. Until he stops with that stuff, then stop telling kids not to want to be in the mob, and not to want to lead a criminal lifestyle, because you go out of your way to make it look good, even now that you're just a regular guy. You know what I mean? You go out of your way to you brag everything. You don't just say, you're not humble. You don't just say, listen, I led the wrong type of life. I shot a couple of people. I was involved in a murder. I was involved in drug dealing. I ran some illegal businesses, and I regret it. And I just want the kids to know that that's the wrong decision, and don't be like me. He doesn't say that ever. It's all, I shot this guy and I shot that guy, and of course I shot Johnny Gebert, which you didn't. You didn't shoot Johnny Gebert at all. You weren't part of that murder. Um, he has to go over each and every detail and make it sound as exciting and cool as possible, because that's how he makes himself look like a big bad mafioso, which he also wasn't even close. Furthest thing from it, really. So, that's why that stuff doesn't work for kids. And when you show a kid stuff like Goodfellas, like I just said, the influence on me was that I saw all the glamour of it, and the money and the women and wow, this, and because my dad had such an interest, you follow your dad's example, so you just automatically assume that this is the stuff your dad thinks is cool. So hey, maybe if I just did this type of stuff, I'd get some sort of approval. I don't know. I'm sure there's a psychological aspect, but I'm certainly not qualified to form any kind of educated opinion on that. But then you got obviously Goodfellas was, I think Goodfellas is the best mob movie that was ever made. Then you got Gotti, another movie. Gotti. I wanted to go. I was going to go to Mob Movie Con this weekend. We actually had plans to do it. I really wanted to go last night to the Gotti reunion, but we decided not to for a bunch of different reasons. Just busy, busy, busy all the time, and we just don't have time for it right now. But Gotti, I think, is one of the best mob movies ever made. And Armand Assante was brilliant. My only complaint, and I'll be honest, because we all have our, opinions on what could be better or what could improve on these movies. Armand Assante, the fast talking, he speaks really, really fast, like he's like Gunner, he speaks like that. And from what I've seen and heard of John Gotti in, on wiretaps, uh, stuff we could listen to on YouTube, and even stuff like, his prison tapes that you could go listen to, he didn't speak like that. He didn't. So I'm not sure why Armand Assante did that. Maybe that's just the way he speaks, and it's hard to deviate from that. I'm not sure. But that's my only complaint about Gotti. Other than that, I mean, till this day, I just watched that movie with my wife a few months ago because she never saw it. One of the best mob movies ever made, hands down. And even the actors, like even Vincent Pastore, the way he resembled Quack Quack, Sal Ruggiero. Excellent, just excellent. They got everybody right, Neil Delacroix, I think it was Anthony Quinn that played him. I mean, they had everybody. It was on point, 100%, and it was fantastic. Then there was Donnie Brasco. Donnie Brasco, I think, was excellent, without a doubt. Al Pacino, again, he was brilliant. I mean, just the way he played Lefty Ruggiero was, you can't, there's no criticisms to even make. Johnny Depp, I always thought was a weird choice for that. He didn't come off like, the real Joe Pistone was a street guy, before he entered law enforcement and all that. And even when you listen to him talk today, you can tell that, just the way he speaks and stuff. Donnie Brasco, or Johnny Depp and Donnie Brasco, he didn't, I know he's supposed to be from Florida. The undercover cover story and stuff was that he was from Florida. So he wasn't supposed to have like the New York accent and all that. But still, I always thought that was a weird choice. So I wasn't huge, on him being in that movie, but still, one of the best mob movies of all time. Pretty accurate from what I read, except for the fact that, it wasn't Joe Pistone's real dealings were more with Sonny Black than they were with Lefty, and it wasn't Lefty that got killed. Lefty died of lung cancer years later, and it was actually Sonny Black that got killed for kind of bringing Joe Pistone, Donnie Brasco into the family. But that was terrific. What else? After that, there's been some terrible ones. I mean, This Thing of Ours and stuff like that are just like crazy. Oh, Casino. Casino's another one. I mean, how could you watch Casino, even as a younger man, even as an older man, and not think to yourself, because anybody's lying if they say, that this isn't something that, would be, something I would have loved to experience. Like, they don't kind of daydream a little bit about what it would be like to be one of the characters in that movie. You know, Sharon Stone, you know, the beautiful. So, you know, that kind of stuff, the money, the heists, all this, the exciting stuff that went on in that movie. You know, that's another one that's like, man, you know. And then there was gangster movies that weren't mob movies, but like Scarface. Come on. I mean, especially me as a coke dealer, or even a coke user. Scarface is, you know, that's the movie for that kind of stuff. And that's another thing. Every young drug dealer, everybody who ever sold a bag of coke thinks that one day they can be Tony Montana. You know what I mean? And they have that fantasy in their head that maybe someday, you know, I could live like that, which is crazy. But Scarface, one of the best movies of all time, just like Goodfellas, Donnie Brasco. Um, you know, there was earlier movies too, like Mean Streets, obviously the Godfather movies. That's when you know, the mob movies became the new westerns. You know, that's why I think a lot of, you know, kids watched them, and men in general were so interested in them. You didn't have to have an interest in the mob to have an interest in those movies, because they were the new westerns. You know, they were the new. It's like Robert De Niro or Al Pacino was, you know, the new John Wayne. You know what I mean? And that's what happened with you know, that whole genre of movies. It's just fantastic. You know, it's Americana, and it's. I think everybody's seen at least one or two. I rarely speak to anyone who hasn't at least seen Goodfellas and Casino. Classics, timeless fucking movies. Then later on, I'll tell you what I think was an excellent movie. I think one of the most underrated movies um, ever, and a lot of people don't even know about it. And if you don't, and you have any interest in mob stuff, check out Kill the Irishman. Not The Irishman. That's, you know, obviously we know what The Irishman is. There's a movie called Kill the Irishman. And I forget the names of the guys that star in it. The guy that plays Danny Green is kind of an unknown to some extent. Wasn't a big name. But he played that role, you know, perfect, to a T. Excellent. I think that's another fantastic mob movie, because that tells the story of Cleveland in the 60s and 70s. And Cleveland was no joke. I mean, they called it Bomb City at one point. I think there was 36 bombings in, I forget if it was a year, or how long it was, 3 years maybe. They were blowing each other up. And Danny Green was a big, tough Irishman who, you know, took on the mob, and eventually, you know, the Gambino family, and he thought he could get away with this, you know. Um, and he was, you know, I don't want to give any of the movie away, so I'm not even going to say it anymore. But check out Kill the Irishman, man. It's a story about a big, tough Irishman who spent his life sick of being picked on by the mob, sick of having to kick up to people to do his own street stuff. And as a union boss, he just got tired of it, and he decided to take these guys on. And it's a fantastic movie. I love Kill the Irishman. Um, if I miss any guys, you know, I apologize. I didn't write a bunch of stuff down. I really was excited about the suggestion that Cleveland Corleone's made, and I really wanted to make this video. There was also, you know, later on, there was The Irishman. Um, I don't know. Good movie. Uh, Long, drawn out. I'm not gonna lie, I was bored watching it. Still a great movie, but you know, it's been disputed by a lot of people. Who knows really the truth? I don't know if anybody does anymore. But you know, I don't believe that that's what happened to Jimmy Hoffa. I don't think a lot of people do. And to go back a couple of years before that, Gotti, 2018. Oh, listen, John Gotti Jr. You know, all you guys, the Gotti family. My apologies in advance, but that was the worst fucking mob movie in the history of mob movies. I mean, the fake New York accents, the actors. Where did they get these people? I mean, nobody even resembled the character they played. John Travolta was just fucking atrocious playing John Gotti Sr. I mean, that was an insult to John Gotti Sr.'s memory, having him play that. What a terrible movie. I mean, wow. I watched that uh, really apprehensively because I knew it was going to be bad. I had already heard. And luckily, I'm glad I got it on bootleg because if I would have paid to see that movie, I would have demanded my money back, possibly in a violent manner, if that's what it took. Because holy shit, terrible. Um, I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking there, why they would allow that to be released, and the fact that John Travolta comes out and says, I think I nailed it, and it was Jesus Christ, it was so bad, man. Oh my God, I could go on for days. I don't remember much of it anymore because I think I was high and everything else when I was watching it. I'm sure I was snorting some coke or doing something to get through it because it was terrible. It was really bad, man. So that's all I have to say about that. But yeah, these movies that played the biggest part in my life were, like I said, St. Valentine's Day Massacre, um, um, The Untouchables, Goodfellas, the best. I don't think, in my mind, best movie ever made. Um, Casino, Donnie Brasco. Those were the movies in my younger years. Like Kill the Irishman and stuff isn't that old. I think it's like maybe, it's not even 10 years old yet. So those are movies as an adult. But as a kid, the way I felt when I saw these movies was excited. Like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to be. And apparently, maybe my father even wants me to be like that. He wasn't a bad dad. He left when I was young. And then came back into my life, a few years ago for a little while. But, I haven't really known him in a long time. And, what I knew of him back then, was there was a major interest in this stuff. So, yeah, the mob movies, the way they made me feel, the way, the excitement from, watching all the things that went on. And then you get into reading the books and all that stuff. And it is really, it draws you in. And if you already have a mind for crime or a possible future in a criminal lifestyle, then they're just going to influence you. Now, I'm not one of these guys that say like rap music or video games or anything or to blame for anybody's criminal life. Not saying that. I'm just saying that if you already have a mind for it, if it's already up here, and you already find excitement in the street life, which I did since I was little, then it's the wrong thing to watch because it's only going to instigate. It's kind of like, honestly, it's kind of like what hip hop is for a lot of kids and was even on me. I got into hip hop when I was in my teens, and even that shit. That's all they talked about for years and years and years. And now, back then it was selling drugs and crime and stuff. Now it's all about doing drugs. It totally switched up, and I can't even comment on hip hop music now because it's so gay and so weird. And the clothes these guys wear, the skin tight clothes and the dresses and purses, it's so feminine. I don't know what's going on in America or the world, but there's definitely a feminization of males. There's a systematic process in place. It almost seems like. I'm not a conspiracy theory guy at all, but something strange is going on. So yeah, that's not the point. That's pretty much it, guys. I don't want to keep going on because I'm sure you're already bored to tears from this. But I thought it was a good suggestion, and it really was something I wanted to talk about because of the role these movies played in my life. Like I said, I think my first book report in like fourth grade or something was on Al Capone. You know how weird that is? That's not normal. You shouldn't even let your kid do something like that. No less encourage him and help him. But and they fed my interest. They fed my interest. So, with the newspaper articles, my aunt giving me the pen and the bullets from, and I don't have obviously I didn't get to keep those bullets. My parents took them. The pen though, like I said, hopefully I still have that in storage or somewhere. But that kind of stuff, they fed my my interest in this stuff, and it just grew. And I'm still into it. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I got a picture of John Gotti on the wall. So what? A lot of you probably have a man cave, which is essentially what this is for me, of Tom Brady or fucking Michael Jordan. Or what's the difference? I don't get it. Yeah, okay, they're positive and he was negative, fine. But you had an interest in one thing. This is what I got an interest in. So shut up about that, because it's fucking dumb and you sound stupid when you say that there's something wrong with this. But that's it, guys. I probably already went on way too long. I just wanted to make this video and thank Cleveland Corleones for the suggestion. He was absolutely right. This was a great topic for a video, especially coming from me, because these movies played a huge part in my life and the decisions I made. And, you know, if I was a smarter kid who was more interested in school and was shown the right things, then they wouldn't have had the influence. I mean, you know, a kid who's heading in the right direction probably isn't going to be influenced negatively by these movies, but I wasn't headed in the right direction. And I was never shown the right direction. So, you know, that's it, guys. I think they play a big part in American history, because anybody who denies that the mafia played a huge part in American history is, you know, either lying or they just haven't researched enough. I mean, unions, business, industry, the mob has had an influence on all of that. A lot of things that are the way they are today are because of things, you know, that the mafia had a hand in, or they changed, you know, in some way or another. So that's it, guys. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know. I know some of you just want to hear the beef and the drama stuff, but I want to do some stuff like this too, and I hope it works. And I was going to tell you guys, you know, share these videos, put them on Facebook, put them wherever you want. Obviously, the goal for me now is to grow this channel and entertain as many people as possible if I can do so. So share my videos, like my videos, comment in the comment section, please. I always try to get to them. It's getting harder and harder these days, but hopefully this weekend I'll have some time where I can answer more of you guys' comments and your emails. I try to get to everyone's and every single one, but you know, like I said, believe it or not, you know, we're always on the go. We're always doing something. So yeah, please like. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And I am going to make another video today at some point. I'm going to try to do a couple a day for a while. And I might even just pre-record some and save them and drop them, you know, throughout the week, since I'm busy during the week. So that's it, guys. I don't know what time we'll be home or when I'll be getting back to this. But until then, I'll see you later. And that's it. Salute.